Hey guys, I'm going to be going over the talk to text annotations for the third and fourth paragraph of that opening page in Heart of Darkness. So this is the third paragraph. If you guys are working from the text itself, I would be using post-its to annotate these things, or you could also just write directly on it if it's your own copy. And then if you're working from a PDF, so you could copy and paste the text into a Google Doc, and then you could annotate from there. But you may know of another method, and if so, definitely let me know about it. We do want you guys annotating and interacting with the text of the Heart of Darkness, so explore your options and find something that works for you. So we're going to be specifically looking at these 5 things: diction indicating tone and mood, details and imagery in description of the characters, dialogue and action revealing characterization, point of view and characterization of the narrator, and then details and imagery in the description of the setting. This part of the opening passage has a little bit of all 5. All right, so we begin with the director of companies was our captain and our host. So, director of companies being the captain and the host, and our reminds us that this is a first person narrator. These 2 words indicate that the director of companies, he likely owns the Nelly, the ship that they're all on, and he's guiding the trip. It seems to be a trip that is unrelated to like a work endeavor. The Nelly is sort of like, they say it's a cruising yawl. It's kind of like a small yacht type of ship. So this excursion is maybe for fun, for exploration, an expedition. That's not so much related to work or profits. All right, then we 4 affectionately watched his back as he stood in the bows looking to seaward. So there's 4 people plus the director, and that equals 5 men total on the Nelly. The fact that they affectionately watch his back, so they like him or they trust him. He stood in the bows looking to seaward. So this is definitely the stance of someone who knows what they're doing. I'll say who knows what he's doing in this case. And in fact, it says on the whole river, which is the River Thames, there was nothing that looked half so nautical. He resembled a pilot, which to a seaman is trustworthiness personified. So again, this guy, he looks like he knows what he's doing, so he must know what he's doing. And that's important for men on a ship when things can be really risky. It was difficult to realize his work was not out there in the luminous estuary, but behind him, within the brooding gloom. So when it says his work was not out there in the luminous estuary, this is implying that his work was on land in London. So even though he's the director of companies, he's the captain, he's the host, he's the pilot, they trust him, he's taking them where they're going, he clearly does most of his work on land. He calls, or the narrator calls, out there the luminous estuary. So thinking about the estuary, right, as the mouth of the river that kind of leads into the ocean. So if this is the River Thames, and then it like hits the ocean would be out here. He uses luminous to describe that. And when we think of luminous, we think of light. We might associate that with truth, answers, hope, or enlightenment, new ideas. When we say that something is illuminated, we're implying that it's made clear. And then he describes that what's behind the director is brooding gloom. So that's in reference to London. And when you hear gloom, we think of gray, clouds. Could be mystery, like mist and fog, and that was already established in the setting in the first and second paragraphs. You guys have heard doom and gloom, so like bad things are happening. Gloom is associated with something that's dark or darkness, and that's in opposition to the luminous estuary. And light and dark are going to be super important, especially in a book called The Heart of Darkness. So then this is the fourth paragraph in the opening page. And it goes, between us there was, as I have already said somewhere, the bond of the sea. So if you have the text version, there's an asterisk here that leads to a footnote. And this somewhere is actually reference to another somewhere, which is in the second paragraph of another story titled Youth, which had been published in Blackwoods Magazine in September 1898, only 5 months before the serialization of The Heart of Darkness began in the same magazine. So what's established here is that these 5 men on the Nelly know each other. And they don't just know each other. Whoops. But they know each other well. It says, besides holding our hearts together through long periods of separation, it, the sea, had the effect of making us tolerant of each other's yarns and even convictions. So they know each other so well because they've spent a lot of time together at sea. So I'm going to say they know each other well. And they've spent so much time together, right, to the point that their hearts are bound together through all this separation from their family or their home. They're so bonded here that it makes them tolerant of each other's yarns and even convictions. So yarns is another word for stories, but it comes with this connotation of perhaps there's some twisting of the truth in these yarns. And also, maybe the yarns are like a little long. They might be longer stories than, were necessary to tell the actual tale of what happened. And then convictions, you can look at those as beliefs. So you're spending so much time with people that even if you don't agree with their convictions or beliefs, you are tolerant of them because of this bond that you have. So then we get introduced to 2 more characters. So we have the director of companies, we have the narrator, and then we have the lawyer. I'm going to use red for the lawyer. And it says, the lawyer, the best of old fellows, had, because of his many years and virtues, the only cushion on deck and was lying on the only rug. So this man, clearly he's experienced. He's been at this for many years. He's obviously traveled to many different places on a ship, on the ocean, many virtues. He's skilled. So he has experience and he has skill. But he's taken these items of comfort and almost luxury on a ship. The only cushion and the only rug. This leads into a bit of analysis on the narrator because he says that the lawyer is the best of old fellows. That could be read, and again, I say could be, we don't know the narrator well enough yet, but this does sound a little bit sarcastic. Like, the lawyer, such a great guy, had, because of his experience, these 2 items of luxury. Like, he took them. The next character, the accountant, which I'm going to use green because, money, had brought out already a box of dominoes and was toying architecturally with the bones. So here in the text, there is an asterisk, and it leads to an explanation that at the time, dominoes were often made of ivory and were therefore white with black spots. So these dominoes that are made from ivory, it's important that they're giving us this information so we can visualize it. So they've got the white background with the black dots. And think of a domino tile. Do my best to draw one. So this would be the 2. Okay, that's not exactly right, but he already busted out these dominoes, and the narrator actually just replaces the word dominoes and just says, yeah, he was toying architecturally with the bones. So maybe he's making those like domino towers, right? And they're just referred to as straight up bones. And you have some historical knowledge of ivory from the previous lecture. So ivory is made from the elephant tusks. And many of these Belgian officers in the Congo had quotas for rubber and for ivory. And they killed a lot of elephants and kind of exploited them for this resource. So mentioning that the accountant is playing with these bones right now, so early in the book, may be an indication of a story to come. Another bit of foreshadowing comes with these yarns. So we're being told that the men are tolerant of each other's yarns. This could indicate that there is a story to come. Will we hear one of these yarns in the book, The Heart of Darkness? And also setting it up as a yarn kind of changes the way you may think of what's to come. Like if you're already being told, I'm hearing a yarn versus a nonfiction account or a true account of events or even just a story, you're being given this word, and that may affect the way that you hear what you're about to read. So something else to notice is that these characters that are being introduced, they're unnamed. They're completely defined by their jobs. This job seems to be their entire character, right? The lawyer, the accountant, the director, the narrator is unnamed himself. So these identifications are going to be important, and you'll want to notice who gets a name and who doesn't. And I can tell you now that most of the characters in this book are going to be unnamed, and that is for a reason. As you keep reading, you will meet, actually within the paragraph, after the word bones, the paragraph continues, and you do meet this 5th member of the Nelly, and his name is Marlowe. As you keep reading, continue to pay close attention to light versus dark imagery. Continue looking for the mood and the tone. Don't forget this mood and tone that was established in the first page. As you continue reading, you're going to get dialogue, but don't lose sight of where these characters are. Try and figure out what our narrator's like. Would he say something sarcastic like I had assumed right here, or would he not? And then who is Marlowe? Because we're about to meet him, and he is center to this story. He's within the frame story, his narration. All right. Thanks, guys.